Feel the British love. Feel the British love.
I do feel that. It's a very polite country, thank goodness.
No, very nice. It's welcome back to Matt, welcome back to Ben. But Claire, first time.
Yes.
No, welcome.
Not scared at all.
Oh, stop it. We've met, though, haven't we?
Yes.
No, I don't remember it either.
Oh, thank God. I know, it's really clear in my mind. I mean, even though I was hideously drunk. But, yeah.
Did I cry?
No, you were really nice.
Oh, good.
I was awful, and I just sort of went, I love you. Really, really hammered. And you were like, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Polite.
Taxi for Norton.
Yeah. No. Yeah, for me.
Now, by the way, now, are you familiar with Matt and Claire?
Of course I'm familiar with Matt and Claire. Okay. Absolutely, and I'm very excited for this series, The Crown. What? That's completely genuine. You had been having a lovely time backstage.
Lovely time backstage.
No, because Wolf Hall, that was big in America, wasn't it, Wolf Hall?
I don't really know. Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was very
It was
big in
on.
America. Yeah.
No, but you have been busy. You've been in London doing the new Justice League, where you're reprising?
I guess so.
You say reprise.
We say reprise, but
I say
it's tomato, tomato.
Yeah.
I know. It's sexy when you do it.
Oh, stop it. Oh, sorry. Now, but now, you've been in London, and now you brought your kids over.
Yeah.
And you did sightseeing? You did out and about?
We did all the sites and all the, I mean, I wanted to expose them to, I wanted to have them be cultured, and they came over here for a long time while we were doing it, and I took them around to all the things. And then, of course, I hadn't had a chance to go see them myself, but then you have kids and you think, like, we're going to go see the changing of the guard, And they say, why? What's that? I don't know. They walk around, they change the places, we have to go see it. And I thought there would be, like in America, if you went to do a tour of something like the changing of the guard, there'd be, I hate to admit this, but there'd be like a VIP pass. You could get backstage, and like they'd accommodate you. And so I got a tour guide figuring, this guy will accommodate me because I'm a celebrity and I should be backstage and have easier access than regular people for some reason. And that wasn't the case. He just took me there to the middle of the street, 45 minutes early. We still were so far away, not only could we see the guard, we couldn't even see the fence. It was 100 degrees, and I was just surrounded by 50,000 tourists with cameras looking for selfie opportunities. It just became like an exercise in, the examination of what extent you can go with a selfie. And we never saw the guard change, and I was like one of those dads who wouldn't admit defeat. I was like, just beyond that horde of people is something you should be paying attention to. It was a disaster.
Yeah, you didn't miss a lot. Because the character is a maths genius, and the maths, I think, are real in the movie.
Yeah.
But could you get your kind of actor head around that?
No. I mean, I'm pushing my luck with my daughter's 5th grade math homework. I get most of them, you know what I mean? And then I can pretend that, no, I know that. That's right, honey, you're right there. That was what I was going to say. But I'm not a math genius, but the director insisted that all of the sort of numbers that were all over the place had to be exactly right. So rather than me being able to just, like, make up numbers as I went, there was somebody faithfully off camera going, 7, 14, 42, 36. I defy any one person to come solve the math in the movie.
And I love that thing when you've got a math genius in a film, no notebook is big enough. They have to write on the walls.
They have to write on glass.
Oh, yeah, they love a window, anything.
That's how you have to do it.
But who does that? Like, they don't make you do it.
Oh, God, no. No, what I did was we wanted it to be authentic, so they did a really interesting thing, which was that they got me to do my handwriting, and they scanned it all, and they made a font of my handwriting that the computer could do, and then they gave it to me, which was cool, until I realized, I could always just handwrite it as well. Not all that cool. But they had a font that was the Ben Affleck handwriting font, and then they used that to make all
We're so jealous now. So every letter can be handwritten now.
Yeah.
I'm sending this personal note to you.
I wanted to take this time. Because I care, I wanted to reach out directly.
Do forgive the handwriting. But not the first time you've had to grapple with sort of high-concept science problems.
No, I had some training, much like my character in the movie. I had some training in my early life, but this kind of training was training in the, making 6th grade math and science students suffer through belabored explanation of math and science concepts on a child's TV show.
Because we didn't get this, I don't think we got it here, called Voyage of the Mimi. And how old were you when you presented Voyage of the Mimi?
Well, I did it over a period of time, and I'm not sure which clips you have. There's somewhere I'm 10 and somewhere I'm 13.
OK, I think this might be a later... This is just...
There was somewhere I was even 14, actually, when I came to England. I was
then you might be 14 in this one, because this is in England. This is just to give you a taste of Voyage of the Mimi.
Hi, I'm Ben Affleck. Archaeologists, like the ones in the second voyage of the Mimi, are a lot like detectives, but their clues are hundreds, even thousands of years old, and they can never really be sure if they've solved their mysteries. You know, never really know what was happening back in the past. Well, there's a man here, 60 miles southwest of London, England, who's doing some archaeology that might help provide some new clues for some old mysteries.
Ooh. Beautiful work. Very relaxed.
You know how to set up a story.
You just looked really relaxed. Those jeans said, hands in pockets.
You know when you get a laugh just on saying, I'm Ben Affleck. This was a very gangly young man who came to England and that was a documentary, I think, about Greenwich Mean Time. And I had never been to England before. I was all excited about the time difference. It was a big thrill. Nobody made me go see the changing of the gardens.
Now, when you were talking, obviously you're a very bright man, did you understand what they were saying to you?
No, it was the case of, it was the same kind of thing as what you described, but like, and this was real science, you know what I mean? It actually did make sense, but it was totally beyond me. I had no idea. And they worked me to the bone, so I was half asleep all the time, and they would get to my reaction shots at the end of the day, you know, and I was just kind of going like, you know.
You are a very good actor, but I have to say, you do seem a little unengaged in some of your listening shots. We just put together a few, and also, so there are two things to enjoy here. It's Ben Affleck's unengaged listening face, and the experts, who, I don't know who you are, experts, but you are amazing.
I'm not really involved with the physics of these machines. My job is to design these big magnetic devices.
So those oscillations in skin temperature represent turning on sweating, evaporative cooling, turning off sweating, waiting until its skin temperature gets hot again, and then it cycles.
What happens to us here in the stone yard then is to actually follow the life of one stone in particular, right the way from the quarry, as we get it here in the rough block.
Other animals pant, breathing rapidly over their tongue and mucous membranes. They get evaporative cooling there, and some through the foot pads. There's a little bit of temperature heat exchange through their foot pads, but mostly panting.
You did well.
That is I still use that face. Come here. That look is all over Pearl Harbor.
But with those experts, your face should have been just like a look of horror. Who has left me alone in a room with this man?
There were the sensitivities to things that were appropriate and not appropriate for children. How about if he sweats, takes all his clothes off, and you guys do a scene?
Affleck, you mix in royal circles.
I do. I have some experience with the royals.
Which one?
We're very close. They've asked me not to discuss it, however. So, actually, I hadn't any experience with the royals or royalty. We just went to, you know, I took the kids to, is it Windsor Castle? We went to Windsor Castle. We saw the Tower of London. We saw everywhere that the royals go and live and have you know, cut each other's head off over history. But I took my youngest son to, you know, Kidnasium. You know that place? It's like when it's raining outside.
Oh,
it's
yes.
an indoor place
Yeah.
you can play, and they have stuff, you know, germy balls that they kick around and that kind of thing.
Soft play.
Yeah, exactly. And so I went in there, and it was pretty empty. And then I noticed, like, I had this sort of weird vibe from some of the other grown-ups that were there. And I sort of looked around, they're all really well dressed, with suits on, you know. And then I saw that some of them had headpieces in. And I thought, wow, Kidnasium is tight with the moving around. They must have some... And then I was the last person in there, for sure, to realize that the royal George and Charlotte, yes.
Yeah.
Those kids were in there playing, and my son was in there playing. So now I can tell him, like, you got a cold from the King of England.
You like play with them.
Go talk to him, impress them, next to them. You know what to say.
Ben Affleck, I was listening to the DVD commentary on Armageddon, which is, if you haven't done that, do that. Because he is very funny on the DVD commentary on Armageddon, where you were explaining plot holes to the director, Michael Bay.
Yeah, it was early on in my career, and I didn't know that you were supposed to be political about this kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't just criticize your movie and the director and everybody who worked on it with you. And so I just pointed out what I thought was, I relayed a story where I pointed out to the director what I thought was a minor plot hole, which was that the entire premise of the movie was predicated on the idea that it's easier to teach oil drillers to be astronauts than it is to teach astronauts to drill a hole in the ground. And I said that to Michael Bay. He was like, you know what? Just shut the up. That's the end of my film criticism days.
But you worked with him again. So...
I did work with them again, where in Pearl Harbor, where I single-handedly won the Second World War. Don't need to thank me.
Very good news, yeah. The Queen will be in touch. She'll be in touch. It's on her to-do list.
I'm sure it is.